Oh, hey, Harold.
Hey, how you doing?
Good.
How are we here? Is this
Um,
Daskalos?
Probably. I've been through this a few times.
Wait, where the heck am I? Oh, hey Yoda.
Oh, hey, Millie.
Oh, hello.
Hello, I'm Harold.
Where in the world am I? Why are we in a schoolroom?
Hey everyone, sorry I'm late. We have a new person today. You want to go ahead and introduce yourself?
Uh, is that me?
Yep.
I'm Millie. Hello. Where am
Hello.
I? Hello.
We are going to be doing an archaeology challenge.
Ooh.
Oh.
Yeah, let me give you
Sweet.
some quick rules for this challenge. Number one, no collaboration. So don't go and talk to each other or go to each other's sites. Everything needs to be semi-realistic. So, maybe don't go into spectator mode and look under the ground. Once
Okay.
you are to where you are at, you will be within 100 blocks of the ruins. Please ignore all wool blocks because that's kind of how I built the thing, so I might have missed a few. You will excavate the site, you will rebuild it the way you think
Oh.
it should look, and you will interpret it.
Nice.
At the end of building it, you will give me a tour, and I will grade you how well you've done.
Oh no, grades.
We're being
Aw.
graded on this?
I'm gonna
I'm taking
fail.
a test. How do I get out of here?
It is a
Well,
school.
There's no escape.
Oh no.
So, to give you an idea of what I'm going to be grading you on, it's going to be on 4 criteria. One is going to be the site completion. So, if you were to, if you've adequately excavated the entire thing, the footprint of the site, or of the buildings, I should say, and the layout of those buildings. So, that's different. Those are 2 different things. Footprint
What-
will be, of course, the shape. So, if it's a big, giant, empty rectangle versus a rectangular hotel, obviously those are 2 different things.
Okay.
And the final thing is materials. If you get the materials correct, I will of course give an extra point to whomever gets the interpretation the closest.
Oh.
So, does everybody understand this challenge?
Yes, and once we're done, we get released, right?
We do get to go back home to our own servers, right?
Absolutely.
Can
Does
I
anybody
keep
have
this,
any?
Can I keep
Oh,
this outfit, though? This is pretty cool.
Oh.
Sure, yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
I have a cool outfit too. Neat.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Does anybody have any questions for me?
I think it sounds like a great idea.
Yeah,
I
this
do,
sounds
too.
awesome.
Yeah. No questions?
No, I don't have any
Great.
No, I
questions.
don't think so.
See ya.
Oh, where are we? Oh, at least we have somewhere to sleep. This is great. And a little campfire. Okay, let's figure this out. Okay, so here we are. This is our site. This is where Daskalos transported us to. So I have not looked around at this point at all, but I wanted to cover a couple of things just to set expectations. So I'm going to film this one a little differently than normal, as you would maybe expect. Normally, I create all my own builds, right? And then I will overlay audio, and there's time lapses, and there's, me not really talking off the cuff very much. Have a specific point A, point B, point C, right, that I'm going down. This is clearly going to be different because I'm going to be learning just like you guys as I go. I know nothing, so I think it's going to be super fun. But expect the editing to maybe be a little different. Expect the voiceover to maybe be not as precise as normal. The other thing is I'm going to be popping between creative and survival. I'm going to be grabbing things like pickaxe, shovels, any kind of materials I would need. I'm going to try and follow as much as possible standard, practices from I remember from way back when I used to work as an archaeologist. But keep in mind, I'll zoom in for this one. That was like 20 years ago, so I'm really rusty. So I'll be curious to see what I remember, and I've probably forgotten in those 20 years more than I ever knew. So, maybe remembering false knowledge, who knows. But I'm going to give it a go. I think this is going to be super fun, and I just right off the bat want to appreciate Daskalos for for putting this all together. Now, the other thing I want to say is I'm not sure how many episodes this is going to be. I don't know how many episodes Oda or Milly's is going to be. But at the end, my understanding is that once we're done and we have an interpretation, we're going to contact Daskalos and then walk him through our site, giving him what our site interpretations are, and also rebuild the site. But I think I'm going to grab some supplies and maybe create a board, somewhere, maybe over here where I can start taking notes that you guys can see as I go. Again, no idea how many episodes, but once I start releasing these, we'll have all finished all of our excavations and our interpretations. So yeah, so any suggestions you guys maybe have in the comments, I'm obviously not going to have seen. So, but yeah, hopefully this is fun for you guys. I think it'll be cool for you guys to see, in my case, a former archaeologist excavating a site that an actual working archaeologist created, and in the case of Oda and Milly, what their interpretations are. But enough of me trying to lower your expectations, and I'm just going to stop procrastinating and get right into it. Okay, let's start doing our thing. Create map. Okay, so let's grab some supplies. Have a map. Let me quick pop that up. Oh, I'm right on the edge. So was Daskalos thinking about how the map would end up? Is that a clue? I think some of this is going to be trying to get into Daskalos' mind, as scary as that might be. I forgot to mention there's a glitch on the server. If you click on certain things, they go away forever. Oh. So be careful when you make maps of the site. Okay. Good to know. Okay, he did say it was 100 blocks, right? So it should be somewhere 100 blocks from the campsite. But I don't know if it is. Oh yeah, so it is. And that went away. So he is 100% right there. Okay. So let's do this. Let's put 2 more here. And let's maybe first off get a lay of the land for what the current state is. Okay, so my intention here is to, in the 100 blocks around here, to walk up and back and up and back and create a grid of sorts. Maybe do something like that every maybe I'll start with 10 and just look around, just literally do a field survey just like you normally would. I have no idea if Daskalos is like put, let's say, let me grab an item frame. Like, I don't know if he's done something like this to be like, here's an item frame and there's just like a flint. Obviously that's a chain, but let's say like this is a flint thing or some artifact. And then that helps tell where the site is, and it's just purely below the ground. I don't know if there's going to be some structure sticking above the ground. I don't have any idea. So I'm going to assume that Daskalos is going to be tricky, or at least tricky to me. And then I'm going to treat this, and I'm going to do a site survey, and I'm going to look around, because even if, let's say, we find a site here, for all I know, he said it's the site's within 100 blocks of our area. For all I know, he put another little small site here, another site here. I don't know how contiguous this site is. There are some things on the ground here, so maybe as I'm walking around, I'm going to be paying particular attention to some of this stuff. So maybe the site is, what would that be, to our left? What direction is that? East. So let's maybe do this and just say north, so I don't have to keep pulling that up. Okay, so I've created 2 maps, and I'm about to start my little field survey. So let's get this going. You know what? Maybe I'll do a rough, you know what? I said I was going to go up and back and up and back. I wonder if I shouldn't walk over this direction. What would that be? Yeah, this direction, and try and collect these other maps first. Let's see. That would be south. Let's head south and then collect these 2 maps and then see what that looks like. Maybe there's an obvious site somewhere, and I don't want to spend all my time going through all of this area if there's an obvious site here. So let's see what we got here. So we got horses, we got sheep, we have chickens. Oh my. Okay, and there's a big lake. Oh, we're on a little peninsula. That chicken kind of scared me a little bit. So we're on a little peninsula here. Interesting. Nice. Getting a lay of the geography. I love it. So snow over there. Yeah, I think maybe what I want to do, and I keep kind of going back and forth on what I want to do. So sorry if it's jarring for you guys. I'm just kind of making this up as I go along, like I said. But he said it's 100 blocks from that campsite. So let's maybe... That doesn't look like 100 blocks from the sea to that campsite. Maybe it's 100 blocks from the sea behind me there in the distance to the north in the campsite, but maybe not. I don't know where 100 blocks is from there. So let's maybe figure that out, I would think. So let me put something here. So that's 100 blocks to the north. And let's figure out 100 blocks in the other directions. Yeah, there's sheep, cows. This is pigs. We literally have all farm animals and in plentiful supply. Now, again, I don't know how much to read into Daskalos' site selection and whether or not that really matters or not. I might be overthinking things, but Daskalos is tricky. So I'm not actually at the sea. That's interesting. So I thought 100 blocks was going to take us to the sea, but I'm not quite there. So this, I mean, it would make sense for it to be a port town. So, I don't know. People oftentimes live near the sea, so I would expect it to be here, I suppose. But maybe there is stuff up on the high ground. So, and I'm just marking off the site here, 100 blocks around, like Daskalos said. Not really looking for artifacts or really doing a site survey at this point. I'm just roughly marking out the area. Let me make it even over here. So I do think that I'm going to... actually look to see what's out there closer to the shore, because there may be docks or something like that. I don't think that anyone would be settling in this valley. So the reason why I don't think anyone would be settling in this valley is this. So people tend to not live in super cold ways. So how it would work from a climate perspective is all of the warm air would rise, all of the cold air would sink, and so anyone living in this valley would perpetually be in a state of being super cold, because all of the cold would essentially pool at the bottom. Now, maybe that would be a little different because of these lower areas, potentially, because they're so much lower. Maybe the cold would then just like pour down. But you got to think a little bit of hot and cold like water almost, where there's a pooling action, right? Where the cold's going to come down off the slopes, come down, and then pool maybe in this area here, and then come down there. So I wouldn't think that there's actually going to be actually settlements there. Okay. So my lines aren't even. Doing shoddy work here, but this in theory is where my site is. My site is in theory in this area right in here. Okay, so not directly in the valley. Man, I would expect there to be something here too, maybe a harbor. This would be a great little Minecraft area here. This would be fantastic. Oh, is that blocks right there? Okay. So it might actually be outside of my area slightly. Okay. I wonder if this isn't the site right here. So we may actually, I think what we might do is push this out a little bit more. So let's see. We don't really have room on this map. Okay. Let's actually go back down to base and then Yeah, let's go down to base. I'm seeing something there. Let's actually swing by there on the way. My guess is this is a little tell or a little hill. I suppose this wouldn't be the right landscape for a tell, but I'm not really sure where I am. But this is... Oh, I'm in a hole. My guess is this is little clues here. Not a lot of grass, right? So it looks more disturbed. I'm seeing some visual things here. It's got some dirt built over it. So I think what it is, you know, decent location for a harbor, right? Little bit of protection in a peninsula. Makes sense. Oh, I'm in the hole again. Yeah, I like this. I like this as our site. So let's pop down here and look at it. Okay, so this is slightly later me, and I realized that I didn't really explain why the grass maybe not being in this area was suspicious to me. Now, there's really two reasons for that. One is I look over here, there's lots of grass, and then there's kind of a line, a demarcation, where there's not a lot of grass. Maybe someone ran around with bone meal and kind of plopped a couple of grass things places, right? So from a gamification perspective, I could see where Daskalos maybe used World Edit or something like that, just from a Minecraft perspective, and dropped this in. So that's one reason why it's suspicious. I mean, look at that kind of hard line there, right? So that looks fairly suspicious, line between grass and no grass. But the second reason is really from an archaeological perspective. So there's, and I've touched on this in past episodes, so I'm not really going to go into huge depth on this, but there's such things called crop marks, and which essentially is more or less the principle that grass is going to grow better when there's good soil underneath it, and it's going to grow, or not even just grass, but any plants are going to grow worse when there's less solid dirt and or good dirt underneath it. So for example, if this area over here is just low grass and not a lot of tall grass, and over here there's much more vibrant grass, right, that is usually an indication that this area over here has undisturbed soil where the roots can grow down and be, you know, you're going to get a better plant. And then in this area over here, not so much, because maybe those roots are being affected by either disturbed soil or potentially structures underneath it. So that's also from an archaeological perspective why I think this area over here that I'm jumping up and down on is likely an archaeological site. So wanted to explain that a little bit more. Ooh, and I'm seeing some white stone. Yep, this is 100% not natural. Well, it's hovering. So yeah, I'm thinking this is our site. Okay. I'm not going to make super assumptions here, though. I'm pretty sure this is our site, but let's... this is probably the area I'm going to focus my field survey on, my site survey. But let's put these maps on the board. Okay, so I flew around 100 blocks around the site. This is where we're focusing on. And let's look. Let me zoom out here, and then I'll zoom in so you can see. Okay, I think, based on what I'm seeing here, I was talking about how I don't think that there's any site there. Over here, it's slightly outside of the range that we were told to look in, and it would be a big pool that would get the cold air. So not there. I would think there's maybe a watchtower or something here. Right, this would be a great port. We're kind of on this little peninsula. I guess this is the peninsula part, but we're on two shores. This is a great place for a site, right? Not right up on the coast, and not, you know, so, but I would expect there to be docks or roads or something like that. These caves are a little bit weird. Maybe this would be earthquake or sinkholes. I don't know. It maybe speaks to some underground geology issues, right? But if you look here, where is there no grass, right? I think that this is maybe the area of the site is specifically in this tell or this little hill, this ridge mound here. So I think I was only going to do a site survey out to this line. I actually think that I'm going to push my site survey out to this area. So yeah, I'm going to fly out there in creative quick drop some other pillars there, and then I'll leave this stuff here. I probably will remove this one, but I'll leave these little indents here to show where they used to be, and maybe extend it 1 or 2 more blocks. But I'm going to put one kind of way out in this area, kind of by where the pumpkins are, I think. So let me do that now. Okay, so this other area over here is, as I kind of talked about, as I was up on those hills over there, I was kind of conjecturing that maybe there would be something up on this peninsula out here, and how this would make a nice little harbor. So I do want to spend a little bit of time. I don't necessarily think that there's a site here. You know, I'm looking along the coastline, and it's pretty steep, so I'm not seeing any kind of natural harbor here. But before I kind of focused in and narrowed in there, I did want to take a moment. A thought occurred to me that if this area right here is a settlement of some sort, okay, that's right near the coast, okay, I was looking maybe for docks or a port or something like that when I kind of did my initial run around putting these areas in place to demarcate where Daskalos said how near the site was to the main camp. But it might be that there's shipwrecks, right? I mean, if there's a settlement here, I don't know if we're going to find evidence of a port, and we're going to go along the coastline, maybe on that north side, not looking like there's a port or a place to dock ships here. I mean, this looks all pretty rocky or steep. So I'm not seeing anything here on this east side, but there might be something on the north side, which I'll check in a moment. But along this east side, I'm just going to quick jump in the water and then see if I can see any shipwrecks here. Okay. I checked all around the north side here. Doesn't look like on the north side there's a natural harbor either. At least not super close to the site. Goes down a little bit. The cliff isn't so deep here. You know, over here actually would be a decent harbor area, but that's way outside of. Yeah, none of this I think makes sense. That's too far away. But yeah, I really like this area as a harbor. Man, this would be a great little city. Yeah, I think right in here is where I would expect to see. Yeah, so the reason why I'm thinking this harbor, so it'd be protected from storms, right? So this area would be calmer seas than the area out there, which would be more ocean. And then, you know, you could put. Well, I'll answer him in just a moment. But yeah, you could put some defense towers, you know, watchtowers, lighthouses, and then really protect this harbor area. So I'm about ready to do my site survey. So I have soul torches, so I think I'm gonna drop one of these down so I kind of have a visual of what line I do, so I don't start drifting right and left. And then if I see an artifact or something suspicious, I'm gonna have a little redstone torch and I'll drop that on it, and then afterwards I can kind of circle the areas and the site with maybe some redstone dust is kind of what I'm thinking. Okay, so I'm gonna kind of go up and back and maybe do this little bit in a time lapse here. Now this is suspicious right here. You can see some world edit artifacts here, some hovering grass. So yeah, you can see you can see what's been added here. If I crouch, you can see it up in the sky. So yeah, some artifacting from world edit. Let's see, where did I? Oh, I gotta drop a flag. Forgot to do that. So I'm not seeing really any surface artifacts. So, you know, maybe this area wasn't plowed, you know, in history to really churn things up potentially. Not sure what the history of this area is. Normally, if I'm walking fields, for instance, yeah, let's go 5 more down, 5, 10 more down. Yeah, so if I'm walking fields, for example, I maybe you'd see not at the top of the slope and some pooling at the bottom. You'd still see kind of up in this mid area here. You'd see maybe some artifacts potentially, as you know the rain would come down and start washing and eroding this top bit. exposing some artifacts, but the artifacts then are going to start washing their way down the hill and then pool in a low area. So yeah, I'm not seeing any artifacts around there. So it's possible that Daskalos just didn't put like item frames with artifacts out here. But I want to check all the same. Let's see, this is interesting. I'm gonna flag this. I don't know that this is anything. I don't know if this is sus gravel or not, but I'm not seeing gravel anywhere else here, right? So this is a little bit unusual. So I'm just gonna flag that. So really, we've just found two areas here. We found this gravel area, just to kind of summarize. We found this gravel area right here is one of the two areas, and we found this area over here. Where did that go? Oh, yeah, over here is kind of second area. This clearly is not I wouldn't say native stone, but this is unlike any other stone in this area that I've observed so far, with clearly some grassless areas, or at least this long grass, not here, no long grass over here. So, and then this area here, from a Minecraft perspective, kind of looks like someone ran by and bone milled. And then you can see hovering grass. I'm not talking from an archaeological perspective. You're not going to see hovering grass like that, but you're going to see that in Minecraft when someone's using World Edit. So, okay, the other area, before I start doing maybe test trenches or shovel tests, so that was a you know, like a site survey I just did, right, to try and figure out where the site is and plan out where I want to excavate. The other area I want to look at is this area over here, just to make sure that there's nothing over here. I'm just going to hover over. Hopefully none of you think hovering over is cheating. Maybe I'm using a drone. I think drones are in bounds for modern archaeologists. Yeah, I am not seeing anything unusual there from a site perspective. Nothing on this hill here that I'm seeing that's unusually archaeologically. I may still put a couple shovel tests in there, or maybe a test trench potentially. So beyond drone work, like I was saying, I mean, it wouldn't, I don't want to say uncommon, but it's archaeologists do use aerial surveys. So for instance, whether they're renting a little plane or something like that, depending on where you are and your available funds and how important the site is that you're looking. Yeah, it wouldn't be unheard of for archaeologists to use like an aerial survey. So honestly, me hovering over like this, I mean, yes, I'm in creative, and I'm going to switch over to survival here in just a bit, but this wouldn't necessarily be I don't think considered cheating. So yeah. Okay, so I've completed the site walk. I've completed kind of looking around and looking at the landscape and determining where I think the site is, and I've talked a little bit about that. Even did an aerial survey, so kind of flew over. You guys saw me hover over there, and I kind of chatted through my thoughts around that and why there's grass or not grass. So we've talked about a number of things here, but I wanted to kind of lay out what my thoughts are. I've been thinking about how I want to do the actual excavation. I think what I'm going to do is lay out a grid over the site, and I'll probably do that in redstone. And so I think what I'm going to do is lay out a grid, a 10 by 10 grid over the whole thing, from like wherever I've marked out in the blue areas with the blue concrete. Mark it out, and then I'll then figure out, let's say, here, let me actually demo this here so you can see. So I'll lay out my little grid. So let's say this goes 10. Okay, so there'll be a whole bunch of squares around the whole site, and then I can continue to excavate in each square. So let's say this is square 1A, this can then be 2A, this can be 3A, and so on, however high we are. And then the next square up, so if this is 1A, this next square that's going to come up, so let's say this is coming up to here and then over, right? And so now this is the 1A square, and this is going to be 2A, and then 2B, 2C. So then essentially I'll have a whole grid, 1A, 1A, 1B, 1C, 1D, 2A, 2B, 2C, 2D, etc. over the whole site. And then I can have maybe a chest of the material I've pulled out corresponding to each, and I can then have a sign. That way, you know, I'm going to try and keep a field book as much as possible so I can reconstruct when I'm, you know, not having to remember every single detail. So then I can figure out what's in what and then see kind of where, and I can reconstruct the site. So that's kind of my thought. And then when I excavate down, so let's say I break these blocks, I think I'm going to leave where this line is so I can see where all of my grid is. And I may end up just leaving the skeleton of the original surface, but that'll at least let me see once I'm done where the terrain originally was. And I may at some point knock that out, but that will at least be able to let me tell how tall the original surface was, and then I can count down, because I really don't know how Daskalos has done the stratification or anything like that. You know, how many layers of soil or anything like that. So I want to be able to reconstruct it as much as possible, and it'd be nice to be able to just do it in a way I can visually see it while playing instead of having to jump back out and looking at replay mod. So that's my strategy. And then I also plan on, you know, it looked like, I can't remember if this is sus gravel or not, but let's assume for a moment this is sus gravel, and he's hidden artifacts in the sus gravel. So I'm obviously going to use the archaeology brush and brush this out, and I think I'm going to do what I did when I excavated my Trail Ruins episode, whatever that was, a year and a half ago, whatever that was when the Trail Ruins originally came out, and then replace the sus gravel with a clear glass block, and then put an item frame on it, and put the artifact I would have gotten out of it into that space. So then visually, as I'm excavating, I can see exactly where the artifacts came from, and then I'll be able to then map what grid they came from, and then keep the site really organized to be able to then, when I'm doing my interpretation, talk about it in detail. And then as I go, I'll be able to then update this map. So this will be my active map that I won't lock, and then these maps here I'll lock, but I'll periodically, I don't know, I'm not sure how deep this site is, but whatever makes sense, whether it's 2 blocks down, 10 blocks down, whatever that determination looks like based on what I'm seeing off of either the test trenches or the shovel test, then I'll have updated maps. And so then I'll have then different map groups. So you can see I have 3 quadrants, or three map groups, and I can obviously extend this however long it makes sense. So that's my strategy for excavation. We'll see if it works, and let's give it a go. Okay, so all of my grid lines are all put out there now. Boy, am I tired. I've learned a couple of things here while walking around. I really don't like putting redstone grid lines in Minecraft. That was super boring. Hopefully it wasn't as boring for you guys. But I think it's actually worth it because it'll help us organize the whole site instead of just guessing willy-nilly where to dig and all that stuff. And then essentially we could talk about where things are in an organized way. So I think it was definitely worth it. The other thing I learned is that I really have trouble counting to 10. Did you see how many times in that time lapse I messed things up? I mean, there was some over there and right behind where my head is that I was way off by a couple. So maybe I just got distracted. Who knows? But yeah, counting to 10, not my strong suit. The other thing I noticed, this is the third thing, is here are these oak trees, but then look over here. Those trees are supposed to be in a savanna biome, so I don't know what they're doing here. There's no savanna here at all, and no other trees like them, so we'll have to take note of that. I think I'm going to take down this little flag post behind me, because that's not really needed anymore, and I'm marking it from where those two lines are. So I'm going to take down that little redstone flag behind me, and then I think the next step will be excavation. Have a good rest of your day. Bye for now.